After years of struggling with infertility, Andy and Sarah decided to adopt. However, just 1 week after the birth, doctors discovered something that left the couple completely shocked. Andy and Sarah were more than just a couple. They were best friends, business partners, and playmates. Their strong understanding of each other and their ability to forgive easily made their relationship healthy and happy. They always found ways to bring joy to one another, and everyone who knew them spoke fondly of their beautiful love story. Andy and Sarah shared a deep love for children and dreamed of having a big family, hoping to welcome all their kids before turning 30. After marrying in 2011, they began trying for a child right after their honeymoon. Little did they know the journey would be a challenging one. At first, the couple didn't worry too much about their difficulty conceiving, as it had only been a few months. However, when nothing changed after a year, they grew restless and began making frequent trips to the hospital. Unfortunately, the doctors often told them there was nothing wrong, but couldn't explain why they weren't conceiving. For 3 years, the couple held on to hope. However, that hope was shattered after a hospital visit left them devastated. A doctor eventually diagnosed them with unexplained infertility and told them they would never be able to have a child. I thought I would finally be happy. How do I wake up each day knowing I would never be able to have a child? It's so painful. I feel so empty. I feel like there is no reason to go on, Sarah had said amidst tears when she and her husband got home that day. In the months that followed, their lives seemed to move slowly. Their nights were longer than usual, and their day was dull and uneventful. However, they eventually realized that they shouldn't sit and just do nothing, so they visited a specialist who advised them to consider IVF. Sadly, they found out the IVF procedure would cost about $60,000. While that wasn't enough reason to dissuade the couple from going ahead with it, what the specialists revealed next totally dashed their hope. The couple was told that they had only a 10% chance of getting pregnant with IVF. It felt like our lives were over. It was as if we had nothing to live for. Imagine craving something so badly and discovering that you would never have it, no matter how hard you try. It was really tormenting. Andy said that after 3 years of coming up empty, the couple finally gave up on having their own kids and decided to opt for adoption. The moment we made that decision, our lives totally transformed. We became quite happy. We started eating healthy and sleeping well at night. Sarah explained. Soon enough, the couple was matched with a birth mother, Lizzie. When it was time for Lizzie to have an ultrasound, Andy and Sarah went with her, and that was when they discovered something unexpected. The scan results revealed that Lizzie was pregnant with not 1, not 2, but 3 babies. Just wow. When the doctor said we were expecting 3 babies, I hugged Lizzie, and we both shed tears of joy. She knew about our struggle with infertility, and she was genuinely happy for us. Sarah said, albeit a bit shocked by this unexpected news, that the couple was over the moon with this surprising turn of events. We were told we would never have kids, and all of a sudden, we were expecting 3 kids. It was a miracle, and we were so happy, Andy said. As the pregnancy period progressed, Andy and Sarah made sure that they went with Lizzie for her antenatal checkups. Everything seemed to be going fine until the couple suddenly received a call one night that Lizzie had gone into labor. It would have been good news, but it was a preterm labor. The babies were less than 37 weeks gestation. Wasting no time, Andy and Sarah rushed to the hospital. They got there just before Lizzie was wheeled into the operating room for an emergency C-section. I was so worried and frightened. I was panicking. Everything wasn't going as we planned, but Lizzie remained optimistic. She told me everything would be fine, and somehow I believed her, Sarah said. In due time, Lizzie was wheeled into the operating room while Andy and Sarah stayed in the waiting area. While waiting, the couple held hands and prayed for the safety of the birth mother and safe delivery of the babies. After waiting for an hour, which felt like ages, a doctor finally walked over to the nervous couple. "How's Lizzie? How are the babies?" Sarah asked, and the doctor's bright smile was enough to tell her that everything had gone well. In a room in the hospital, Lizzie was slowly recovering from the anesthesia, while in another room in the intensive care unit, The triplets, Joel, Hannah, and Elizabeth, were kept in an incubator and were closely monitored by the nurses. The couple was allowed to see the triplets later that day. As soon as we saw them, we immediately fell in love with them. We felt connected to them. Andy and I knew we would do everything to make them happy until our last breath, Sarah explained. The couple returned home and started putting plans in place to welcome the babies home in a couple of months. However, later that night, at about 11:30 p.m., something terrifying happened. Sarah suddenly fell sick. She was burning up. After giving her some over-the-counter drugs, Andy gave her a cold bath and talked to her in bed. She complained about feeling dizzy and uncomfortable until she finally dozed off. The next morning, Sarah woke up feeling energetic and began craving all sorts of food. In the days that followed, she would constantly feel fatigued and nauseous. It continued this way for a few weeks, and the couple decided it was best to visit the hospital for a checkup. Andy dropped Sarah off at the health center before heading for work. While in the hospital, the doctor asks Sarah a series of questions before deciding to do some blood tests for her. About an hour later, the doctor called a young woman into his office to discuss the results of the test with her. I was frightened. I didn't even know what to think. I was scared that something was wrong with me, and I couldn't help but wonder, what would become of my babies, who were still in the NICU? Sarah explained. As soon as Sarah took her seat, the doctor smiled at her and said, "You're expecting." I smiled back at him and said, "Andy dropped me off earlier. I'm here alone. I'm not expecting anyone." But he looked at me. This time, the smile broadened and he said, "No, ma'am. I'm serious. You're expecting." It took a few minutes before I figured out what he meant. Then I touched my stomach and my jaw dropped. I was speechless. When he saw that I finally understood him, he shook my hands and said, "You're expecting a baby. You are 2 months pregnant." Sarah immediately broke the news to Andy, who started screaming happily at his workplace, but the surprise wasn't over yet. In another week, this lucky couple would learn something even more shocking. The next week, Sarah and Andy went for an ultrasound, and you won't believe the results. The scans showed that Sarah was pregnant with twins. Incredible, isn't it? The couple was now expecting a boy. When Andy learned of Sarah's pregnancy, he had joked that they would probably have twins, but never for a minute did he think it would happen. In time, Sarah went into labor, and the twins, Abigail and Andrew, were born. But the surprises didn't end there. Just wait to see what happens a year later. Before we get to that, it's worth mentioning the incredible support Sarah and Andy received from friends and family, who offered help and generous donations along the way. In an instant, they became a family of 7. To support Sarah while Andy was at work, their family members organized a weekly rotation to help out. They also contributed by donating diapers, as the babies went through 40 to 50 each day. In an interview, Sarah shared that even if they had known they would have their own biological children, they would never have given up their triplets. Andy believes the twins may not have come along if the adoption hadn't gone so smoothly, relieving the stress they had been under. Now for the good news. Just over a year after welcoming their twins, Sarah fell pregnant again, this time with a single baby. 9 months later, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy named Caleb. It's incredible to see how this couple went from having no children to a loving family of 6 healthy and beautiful kids. What an inspiring story. It's a true reminder that you should never give up on your dreams. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.